Hey, Austin, how are you? Give me 1 second. Let's see you guys. How's your Sunday going, Austin? You a football fan? Bringing up my desktop. You guys know the routine. Here's the goal. I'm going to try to live stream for an hour. Hey, poor man, how are you? I'm just looking. um, I'm looking up the man. I can't get used to saying the Las Vegas Raiders. Just doesn't sound right. Not so sure Las Vegas actually needs a football team. Just seeing who they're playing. They're playing the Raiders or they're playing the Ravens. Austin says, let's see. Sorry, guys. Poor man says, good man. Been sleeping better, I think. Got some morning sunlight. Nice. Have you done any breath work? Austin says, how you doing today, Yogi? Doing pretty good. You know what? Early-ish in the morning, I looked out my kitchen window and I saw a squirrel eating a pancake. I could have went right back to bed after that. Is a day going to get any better than seeing a squirrel eating a pancake? I don't think so. If you guys can think of a way to make a day better than seeing a squirrel eat a pancake, you let me know. Austin said he's doing good. So you would think, officially, I would be a Baltimore Ravens fan. I'm not. I did like the Baltimore Colts. You would think maybe officially I'd be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I was born in Pittsburgh. I don't know anything about Pittsburgh any longer. I loved Pittsburgh in the 70s. I am a Raiders fan. I can't say Las Vegas Raiders. I'm a Raiders fan because our friend, the Burpee Reaper, loves the Raiders. So I support him. I support his team. I haven't watched a football game in over 30 years, I'm sure. I couldn't even name a professional football player. I know one of them dates Taylor Swift. I couldn't name you a Taylor Swift song. That's not true. I could name Shake It Off because it was an earworm. It was planted everywhere. You couldn't go, if you were breathing, you heard it background somewhere. Poor man says, yes, been doing the breathing to help get me to sleep. You should have brought him butter and pancakes, butter and syrup. I hadn't thought of that. I immediately grabbed the camera. Man, now I feel bad. I put my own selfish needs ahead of my squirrel neighbor. Give me 1 second. Guys, our friend Goga is live. So I want to make sure that I share him out. 1 second, guys. Sorry. All right. 1 second. So Goga, man, in my opinion, one of the best live streamers out there. Just beautiful, beautiful content. He is an infectious person, full of enthusiasm for life, for what he does, an incredible content creator, big inspiration for me. Goga, the Jay Jordan, Reverend Terminator, Destiny Forever Walks PhD. These are the guys that really help set the standard for me. Obviously, I do things differently. I'm not technical at all. I've never edited a single thing. I barely know what hashtags are, and I don't know if I choose the correct ones. But they inspired me to go for it anyway. To just do your thing. Which in turn wants me to help other people. I don't know if I'm going to inspire people the same way that these guys did me. But if I can support, I certainly will. Poor man says, heard of squirrels eating other animals sometimes, the colder months, probably survival, last resort. I never heard of that. Hey, Stuart, how are you? Stuart says, so Yogi brother. Hey, poor man, you know anything about Highland Games? Because our friend Stuart's father trained one of the premier Highland Game athletes. Pretty amazing stories. Here's the problem I have. I'm going to stick with the. I want to do two things. I want to ask poor man, which breath are you doing, or what type of breath are you doing for sleep prep? And two, continuing with content creativity, inspiration. I mentioned before the recent inspiration I've gotten from Squirrel Sniper or from Stuart the Fish Whisperer. I got squirrels on my mind. I almost quoted Snoop Dogg. I got squirrels in my mind and my mind on squirrels. Isn't that sort of a play on gin and money? Anyway, yeah. Anything is possible. Stuart the Fish Whisperer, recent inspiration. But I started thinking, poor man says, I've seen some of the stone lifters in Scotland and Norway. Maybe it's called the Husserfield stone. Have you heard of that, Stuart? I'm sure you have. Whenever I look at videos on getting more views, getting more meaningful views, there's a formula, and I don't ever seem to get it right. And I started thinking, you know what? A formula had to come from somewhere, right? Do we have to follow every single rule to get those same results? It's probably easier. You know, that old saying is, don't reinvent the wheel. Somebody had to invent it in the first place. What if the first wheel was actually square? And someone says, you know what? I'm going to reinvent this. I think a round wheel might be a better option. Anyway, maybe I'm just too lazy to make changes. This was sort of hinted at, sort of implied silently by Mocha, that maybe I get too set and say, well, this is just the way I do things. Probably true. A lot of truth there. However, I don't think everyone needs to be this flashy content creator with beautiful editing and soundtracks and this and that. Those that do, they got that covered 100%. And I find that absolutely amazing. I admire it. I love watching it. But what about the simplicity of sitting down and having a conversation about some meaningful things, and sometimes not so meaningful things, but laughing, or putting poorly made nature videos that are a snapshot? And someone mentioned, why are your videos shaky? And that's a good question. Here's why my videos are shaky. I have a handheld camera. I'm walking fast, or I'm running, or I'm active. I see something. I'm watching everywhere. I stop and I film it on unstable surface. Sometimes the hands are shaky. Sometimes it's windy. Sometimes whatever. And that's it. I don't have anything set up to do better than what I do. Nor do I want to, because then I would miss something else. Atlas stones. Poor man says, thought about making an Atlas stone. Got to get a mold for it though. What would you, I guess cement, right? Runner Boy says cheese. I don't know how to respond to that. So I'm just going to sincerely look in the camera. I'm going to look from my heart to Runner Boy's heart and say, Runner Boy, yes, my friend, cheese. I hope that is good enough for you, Runner Boy. Austin says, hi, Runner Boy. Hi, everyone. Hey, make sure you guys, speaking of editing, soundtracks, and perfectly crafted videos, make sure that you check in with Optimob later today. Don't remember what time. Probably, I think around 3 o'clock my time. So probably 2 o'clock out in the Midwest. I think maybe 2 o'clock out in the Midwest. Austin says hi to everyone. So how about really, really nice guy sitting in front of a camera and tying fishing flies? Does it need to be anything other than that? And an occasional short, things along those lines. But we always were driving towards flash, spectacular, fireworks, all the time. We're in a constant need of being stimulated. But how about if you go the opposite direction? The simplicity of life, talking about the simplicity of life. One boy says, oh, the watch hours are finally going back up slowly. Nice. I've had you up quite a bit. As well, I sent a list. And Runner Boy is on the list. I sent a list of to Optimob, the people that I'm really trying to push for watch hours. Runner Boy, Trending Live, Tandra, and Jace. 4. Not saying I'm not helping other people. I am as much as possible. But those are the big 4. And when we get them, their watch hours, move on to someone else. But also help as many people as you can. It almost says help as much. Help as much people as you can. My mom, who was an English teacher, would have been totally disappointed. Warner Boy says, I took pictures of tomatoes, so I'll post them soon. Awesome. You know what? The internet, YouTube in particular, needs more tomato photos. It needs things to be simpler. Doesn't mean that everything has to be, but man, I could drive myself crazy trying to produce spectacular YouTube videos that are, this might be a Scottish slang, beyond my ken. beyond my ken. If Stuart is still here, he can let me know how I did. Hey, Tandra, I just mentioned your name, my friend. Austin says, how's it going, running boy? Hey, speaking of our friend Austin, if everyone is subscribed to Austin, he is trying to grow his channel, so any subscription would be a big help. Running boy says, all good. Hey, poor man, if you're still here, so what type of nighttime breathing are you doing? I have had some friends who are doing Wim Hof breathing, um, but they're doing it at night. And when you do it in the evening, it's an invigorating breath. It puts you in the sympathetic um, energy system, fight or flight. So it makes it all the more harder to go to sleep. Wim Hof, breath of fire, bellows breath. Runner Boy says, do you breathe in and out or out and in? All of the above. What's up, William? How you doing? William says, so Yogs, runner, Tandra, runner, we got a double runner. Austin, poor man, and Stuart. William was on a roll last night with the muffin jokes. Runner Boy says, you breathe in, out, or out, in. Whichever works best. Let's see. William says Wim Hof or that was it. Or however it's spelled is a great breathing exercise. I usually do it before, during my shower. During my shower, before I switch to cold water. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a Wim Hof fan. I know lots of people, including Busy Dad, quite a few others actually, who use it and enjoy it. But they're doing it for performance enhancement. I don't know. One boy says, I used to do my Wim Hof after shower, and it always felt great. Yep, that's it. Breathe in for 4 seconds, 8 seconds exhale. I tried, I think. Awesome. And you can do that lying in bed as you're getting ready to go to sleep. 10 rounds, or just keep repeating it. I like to do 10 rounds, and then I pause. I see if I'm wandering off. A lot of times, I'm asleep before I get 10 rounds in. Make sure you add in the Ujjayi breathing, which is that ha, as if you are fogging up a pair of glasses with your mouth shut, through your nose, slight constriction. You don't have to constrict the throat. Just by doing that breath, the throat will lightly constrict by itself. It puts you in parasympathetic, or the parasympathetic state, just by doing that alone. It also tones the vagal nerve. Hey, Alexandria. Carouse says, can you show us your glasses? Well, we have these. I got glasses all over the place. And we got these. These are bigger. So, yeah, it's like you're fogging up the bathroom mirror or a pair of glasses. Then shut the mouth. This is how it sounds on exhale, on the inhale. So if I were to do a 4-8 breath, it would be Hope you guys could hear that. I could get closer to the phone, but that would scare everyone away. The reason, the light constriction not only tones the vagal nerve, puts us in the parasympathetic state, at the same time, it is, and the sound itself is very relaxing, but it controls the volume of the breath coming in, the volume of the breath coming out. It's like putting a spigot on a hose. If you have a regular garden hose, turn on the faucet, water comes out, steady stream. If you put on a spigot and you pull, now you're controlling how much comes out. So it's the same with the Ujjayi breathing, which translates to victorious breath, but most people like to call it the ocean breath. If you go into a Ashtanga yoga studio, everyone tries to Ujjayi breath as if it's a competition. They try to out Ujjayi everyone. So it sounds like everyone's snoring really loud. It only has to be loud enough for you to hear it. Very gentle. Let's see, I believe we have some Russian. Unfortunately, I cannot speak Russian. Guess I could bring up the Google Translator. Austin drops his link. Thank you, Austin. Make sure you guys go visit. Austin is really consistent with his videos. I love seeing that. William says, I heard you fine, and I usually try to think about flattening my stomach while doing the breathing. You can follow. I would soften the belly, let it rise and fall on its own. As you breathe in, the belly will gently rise. As you breathe out, the belly will gently fall. But remember, because we're breathing from the diaphragm, so if you consciously involve your abdominal, you're not relaxing. You're using the diaphragm instead of the diaphragm being used for the breath, if that makes sense. Now you're taking conscious control of something that doesn't need to be consciously controlled. However, when we do breath of fire, which is an invigorating morning breath, which Wim Hof based his method upon, now we're doing a sharp inhalation through the nose and a passive exhalation. So if you were to do that first thing in the morning, it would be, you won't be able to see my belly just as well, but it'll sound like 20 breaths. So my belly is going out, in, passive on the inhalation. It's very invigorating. You can turn the breath of fire into Kumbhalti breathing, which is skull shining breath. Our friend Stephen Price comes in and says, good afternoon or good evening. You're looking extra shiny today. Always makes me smile because of the skull shining breath. It's very similar to the breath of fire, not quite as sharp, but now we're going to do Kumbhalti breathing in between, which means breath retention. So I would do a little slower. I get to 20 breaths. I take an easy breath. Then I take a 3-part deep yogic breath. Yogic breath, I breathe into my belly, expand the rib cage to the side. I breathe up into the clavicles. I release the clavicles. Rib cage come back together. My belly is falling. 3-part breath because I'm involving all 3 parts of the lung. I do another easy breath, and then I retain the breath for the count of 20. Or you can do 30. So you can see where Wim Hof got his, he studied with yogis, then sort of went out on his own. Wonderboy says he used Wim Hof app and did follow alongs. Yeah, lots of good counts. Lots of good apps. I'm sorry. William says that is what I meant, but I'm not focused on the breath. becomes a subconscious count for me. Okay. Runner Boy says it's gotten a lot colder this week. Guess it's time for Halloween. Man, I can't get behind Halloween until it's October. And then a weekday, an hour after Halloween, everyone's talking about Christmas. Let's see. Poor man says, still hot here. Was sweating profusely earlier. Did you work out earlier? Or were you working? Let's see. So, translating. Our friend from Russia says, hey, buddy, this is Russia. Give me a second. Man, I love Google Translator. He says, please tell me what your channel is about. We'll see how accurate Google Translator actually is. Wonder Boy says there's already Christmas stuff in stores here. Man, way too early. We are rushing everything. And of course, it's all because of an innate sense of dissatisfaction. So, to add on, Runner Boy, if you want to deepen and also turn it into a bit of a mindful act, then you can breathe the exhalation through the left side of the nose. So you would breathe in, count of 4. This is the Vishna Pranayama Mudra. These fingers technically go together. They don't have to. Mine never have. It's almost like the Hang 10. I breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 8. Runner Boy says, I like Halloween time. Weather is my favorite. Mocha and my stepdaughter both love Halloween. I'm rather indifferent to the whole thing, I'll be honest with you. As a kid, it was a time to go out and get in trouble. Foreman says, dog was born on Halloween. Should have named him Jason or Chucky. That would have been pretty good. Jason, Chucky. Who else do we have? There was Jason, there was Chucky. Oh, or Freddy. Freddy, right? So I saw our friend Leo was already up, got his reps in for the day. Right now, Buddha is doing her burpees. So obviously you guys can tell, I love talking about breath work. It is the simplest, easiest way to bring about significant changes, not just in the immediacy of our experience, but it literally rewires the central nervous system to make you less reactive, unless you need to be, and more responsive, which is huge. Because when you make that switch, we're not always in that state of high alert. We suffer from this low level stress. Stress itself isn't good or bad. We always think, well, stress, we're combating stress. We need a little bit of stress in our life. It's a motivating factor. And without a little bit of stress, we wouldn't get anything done. Everything grows from stress. But it's the fact that it used to be our ancestors, we'd have moments of stress as we were fleeing the saber-toothed tiger, and then we'd have complete relaxation. Still alert, still aware, very mindful, but we weren't on high alert all the time. It's the same as a persistent hunting. Wasn't an all-out, how fast can you go? You would run, the animal would get tired, give it a little bit of a break. You would run again, you would run and walk. The key was stay in motion, not going out at a sprint. But in today's world, we're always on sprint mindset from the moment we are up. Got to get to work in time, got to beat traffic, got to get my coffee, got to get the kids to school. It's always gotta. And there's never just a pause. That's what breathwork gives you. And again, it literally rewires the central nervous system, neurological pathways. So now we have avenues. We don't immediately jump to the conclusion of I gotta fight or I gotta flee. Now we have options. How to deal with stress. Let's see. Is Jace here? Poor man says Oscar was looking this morning. Yeah, he was. Oh, Jason. Now I see what you're saying. Runner Boy says, I love the act of breathing in. Says some depriving others of that specific oxygen. Man, I was wondering where that oxygen went. Been looking for it. I had been saving that oxygen for a special occasion. That was going to be my Halloween oxygen. It's going to be my Christmas oxygen. And here, Runner Boy just sucked it all up like it belonged to him and no one else. Typical. I'll tell you what. Typical of Runner Boy. Mr. I'm your 500th sub. I'm your 1000th sub. Hey, Pancake, how are you? Pancake says, let's go. Hello, brother. Hello, my friend. Appreciate the like. Hey, Noble. Happy birthday 1 day late. You don't look a day over 31. How are you? How was your birthday? So pardon me, guys, as I keep up with the translating just a bit. It's just nice to be able to make someone feel a bit welcomed. So, Noble, I hope you had a good birthday. To those just coming in who think, wow, I can't believe he speaks fluent Russian. I speak fluent Google. and probably not very fluent Google. I often wonder, does this help? Not the other person, but does it help me acquire a familiarity with the language that I'm doing? And I'll be honest, I don't think so. I think I do it too fast to have it sink in, but maybe I could be wrong. Poor man says, think yesterday was the sorest I've ever been for burpees. Leo's routine with vests and ankle weights, seals with ankle weights were brutal. Yeah, actually, it put him down too. He took it a bit easier yesterday. Yeah, that'll do it. That will do it. I want to put out a 5 to 6 minute, let's make it a 7 minute um, yoga routine on my members channel, or at least maybe started on the members and then shifted into regular function. 7 minutes in the morning for yoga, but it won't be the type of yoga where we're doing. Uh, I was just talking about Stephen Price. Stephen said shiny as always. Keep it up. Thank you, my friend. This is a fresh shave too. Fresh shave and then right in the shower. I was talking about a yogic breath technique, um, Kompota breathing, which is translates to skull shining. Doesn't literally make your skull shiny, but it is supposed to make us shiny from within, that we illuminate the light in which we are, which is the essence of the Sanskrit um, salutation. The light divinity within me recognizes and salutes the light divinity which is within you. Namaste. So I'm offering a big namaste to my shiny brother, Stephen Price. Um, did you guys happen to catch Jace hit 1,000 sit-ups today? I did. I wasn't able to catch the whole thing. Milka came over and we were out taking a walk. Give me a second. Runner Boy says, I'll be posting my bench PR soon. Nice. Looking forward to seeing that. 120 for Runner Boy on his bench, and up from 115 previous. Austin says hi to everyone. So remember Premier from Optimob? It's also a good place to, you can get some subscribers if you're in the market for subscribers. Let's do away with that. Not subscribers. It's a good way to make connections. People will connect with your channel. You'll be able to connect with their channel. All you got to do, Optimob almost always gives you a blue wrench. So you don't even have to bother dropping your link. Someone will drop it for you. But you get to click on everyone's link. But leave them a nice comment. Everyone appreciates that. Everyone loves to see something that they've worked on or something that they cared about enough to share it. Be appreciated. I had someone mention on one of my videos, it was of a hummingbird. Always happy when I catch something unique like that. And someone posted on my short, no one cares, which might be true. Probably so for the vast majority of people. However, we have a unique opportunity. We can be the one who does care for whatever it is. We could be the one who cares about Runner Boy's 120 PR. We can be the one who cares that yesterday was Noble's birthday, that our friend Stuart is tying fishing flies at his kitchen table. I think it's his kitchen table. We can be the one that cares watching Leo do a tremendous burpee reaper, poor man, all of them. We can be that one. So if someone says no one cares, go back to Gandhi. Be the change you want to see. You can be the no one or you can be the someone. Runner Boy says, nice. Poor man says, been hitting some weighted pull-ups, Runner. I go in and out with weighted pull-ups. Right now, I'm just trying to get my reps back up. I'd love to hit 15. Man, I'd love to hit 20 again. It's been years and years. Don't know why my pull-ups drop so much. Poor man says it was something else, man. He's pushing into uncharted waters. Yeah, he is. Pretty amazing to see. It's really amazing the entirety of, man, the burpee community. The specifics of what everyone's doing. Runner Boy says, I'm really trying to hit 20 now. The race is on. What's your best right now, Runner Boy? I think Runner Boy says he's 23 years old. I'm 59. Can a 59-year-old beat a 23-year-old to 20 pull-ups? That's the question. But before I say that, before I issue the challenge, let me know where Runner Boy is right now. If he's at 19, oh, he's at 15. Runner Boy says 15, but currently I did 10 in a row. I've done 37 pull-ups in a row. But I was in my 30s. I was doing Olympic weightlifting. It was a bit of a different time. I'm usually good for 10. My recent best is 11. The other day, I thought I had 12 in me. I didn't go because I wanted to leave something in the tank. What I found out was when I came back the next day, I didn't have anything in the tank. So I should have gotten that. So I started the cycle over, but I'm not feeling fresh this cycle. I'm going to take Runner Boy's advice that he left me. I'm going to take a day off. I've been doing Pavel's Fighter Pilot, which is you start with low reps and you work up a rep on your top set, and then you decrease the reps. So let's say you start with, let's say your best is 12. You start with 4 reps. Your second set, you do 2 reps. Your third set, you do 1. Now, he'd have you do a bunch of singles, but since I do a bunch of other stuff, I don't do that. The next day, you would do 5 reps, 3, and 1. And then 6, 4, and 2, and you're working out in that fashion. Running Boy says, I did 50 times 5 today. Wow, nice. I hit a single with 35-pound kettlebell around my waist about 4 or 5 months ago. Maybe longer. I think it might have been closer to the beginning of the year. Whoever says, I can't do any. Not interested in trying. I want to find a job like a fire tower observer living remotely. Hey, William, you ever heard of Edward Abbey? Edward Abbey was a great outdoor writer. Desert Solitaire. He wrote about his time as working at a fire tower. Very solitary in the desert. Wonderful book. His book, The Monkey Wrench Gang, fiction, another great book. Man, working remotely in a fire tower, just bringing a notebook. Maybe bring 2 books, like a spiritual text that you really want to dive into, and of course a book, a journal to write in. I really recommend bringing Thoreau on Walden Pond. Poor Man says, need to get some rings. Tried them the other day, felt good. I have some rings. I don't like them. I can only put them on my pull-up bar right now, and I'm limited to what I can do. I love doing ring work. Man, if you want to see an expert on the rings, Hybrid Gym. Runner Boy says, well, is that not a hard job to get into? It used to be relatively easy. I'm talking used to be. I'm talking about in the 30s, 1930s, 40s, 50s, probably all the way up until the 60s or so. I believe Edward Abbey did it in the mid 50s. Man, Edward Abbey, he was one of the founding editors for Outside Magazine. He was a cantankerous man. In a good way. Sort of an anarchist. Wonder Boy says, I do mine on rings, which makes it definitely harder. So I could probably knock out 15. Depends. I'd probably get a really big bicep pump before my grip gave out. But close grip chins, I could probably knock off 15. I could knock off about 12. Poor Man says, think maybe need to get some forestry degree, or maybe or something similar. That'd be a cool job, ranger and park service. It would. My grandfather was a forest ranger in the mountains in north central Pennsylvania. I got his badge in a drawer here. I'll have to dig it out. Runner Boy says, William says, I have no idea. I'm tired of jumping through hoops just to get an application in. Why is getting employment so hard to find? It's a good question. William says, it's like the world demands I be some chit-tire laborer and nothing else, and I refuse to live that kind of life. I feel you on that, William. It's the reason why I stepped away from retail. To be told that you're good at retail, I'm not sure what kind of compliment that is. Guess it's better than being bad at retail, especially if you're making a living. But man, it is a draining job. Selling things to people they don't particularly need or being told to. I did my best to be 100% honest salesperson. That even making commission. especially when I was dealing with um, seniors who had their hard-earned money and they wanted to buy a supplement to make them feel better because they were hurting physically or emotionally. It's actually how I met Milka. Came into the vitamin shop where I was the manager, and she wanted supplements to help her feel better. She didn't want to go on suffering depression. Didn't want to go on antidepressants for her own particular reasons. She's not against them, but for her own reasons, she didn't want to. So she came into on some recommendations to buy some things that would not have worked. So we talked. I actually steered her away and gave her suggestions on some books for meditation. Little did she know, and this was 23 years ago, little did she know that not only was I going to teach her meditation, that I was doing my best to pick her up at the same time. So you know what? In retail, I had my principles, but I was also a little flexible. I was also a little flexible with my principles. William says sales and customer service is draining. It is. One boy says I can't do chin ups for whatever reason. My elbows turn in for enough. Huh? Interesting. It's always a stronger move for me. Poor man says, William, there's a difference between being a laborer and a skilled laborer. Got to start out doing some shit work to learn. I always thought brickwork would be a fascinating field to be in. How easy is it these days to apprentice versus going to school, going to a trade school? If you want to be a plumber, can you still get licensed if you've apprenticed, or do you need to go to a trade school? Poor man says you can learn something from any job, no matter how much it sucks. Absolutely. You can also reframe it so it doesn't suck. The job itself doesn't suck. It might be physically demanding. It might be mentally draining. However, it's not the job itself. Going back to Shakespeare, nothing be good nor bad, lest thinking makes it so. No job is good nor bad, lest we believe. Man, some people literally are crossing rivers into hostile territory to get such type of a job. Where it says that I and God are going to have a different conversation. Maybe you should. Sometimes we need to argue it out. Where it says, I'm not refuting that as a fact, but I'm tired of embracing the suck to get by. You ever made out a list? I haven't known you for a little bit, a couple months now. If you made a list, how could I be happy and fulfilled and be of service? And write down every thought, no matter how outlandish it might seem. And then look at that list and think, okay, what calls me the most? And circle them. And then how viable is this option? Verna Boy says, not easy. I tried to get an apprenticeship, did not work. Yeah, I didn't think it was as easy as it used to be. What did you try to get an apprenticeship with, Verna Boy? Brickwork is hard, and you never will get apprenticeships now. You're mandated to having schooling for all trades. It's a bit of a shame because that was a valuable and viable way of learning a trade. Poor Man says, there's a lot of companies that pay for an apprenticeship, especially if you have some drive. Nice. So that's what we need to talk about. Let's make this shift. That was a great suggestion from Poor Man. Let's make the shift. Instead of thinking about all the things we can't do, make the shift. What's possible? What's available? What can we do? Well, it says, yeah, they are, and government counts on those migrants. That's why we have a 7.25 minimum since then the 90s. Bricklayer. Got you. One says, yeah, it doesn't seem to work. Everything I want is laughed at by God, and definitely makes sure I know how much of a joke I am. So if we go back to the Old Testament, if we go back to Genesis, on day 6, when God looked upon all that he created and declared it's good, he didn't say this is good, except for that guy William. Him, I'm going to make things a little difficult for him. God here said the big news. God does not care what you do. God does not care what job you have. We could say that God is perfect joy, perfect happiness. And if we are not aligned with that perfect joy and perfect happiness, it's not God's fault. It's up to us. Runner Boy says, no, I'm set on this tree planting job. I hope you get it, Runner Boy. Do you know when you might know? It says I have a decent amount saved up already for a move. I probably need a van. Get my stuff over when I go. Warm says, and I have my answer. Warm says, peace be with everyone. Take care. Here's another thing, William. Before you go, I hope you're still listening. There's no definite answer. We get to arrive to answers, and we get to pivot, and we get to move. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone. Everything can change. Everything can change in a moment. If everything was set in stone, I'd still, well, actually wouldn't be here. I would either be dead or I would be sitting in a bar. The thing is, don't take my word for anything. Dive in, William. Experience. Don't be afraid of things going haywire. Don't be afraid of losing. Don't be afraid of getting fired. Don't be afraid of anything that life throws at you, because life's going to throw it all at you. All at you. And guess what? You're given the gift to interpret how that is. It can all be an opportunity. You get fired from something, it opens up a great opportunity for something else. Doesn't mean that we see that opportunity right now. Hey, Dreadson, how are you? Warner Boy says, I'll be doing my voiceover for my vid now, so I'll be back in a few. I'm actually just about to hit that hour mark, and my goal was to make the hour. I'll be back. If you get a chance to stop in this evening, let us know what's going on. Runner Boy says, well, tree planting in Canada is a big thing. Try it. Look. Take all these suggestions and look. Dive deep. Dive deep into William. Hey guys, so yep, I just hit an hour, about an hour and a minute coming up. I'll be back. I'm actually going to do my last meditation for the day. Hey, Eric Appointments here. Another great live and a thumbs up. Thank you, Eric. Very much appreciated. So, William, if you're around, if you want to call me in half an hour ish, feel free. I'll be here. I'm going to see everyone later. Anyone who comes by. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Take care. Have a good day.